Sunday revealed that Nigeria recorded 91 new cases of the novel coronavirus, bringing the country's total infections to 1,273. Now, 43 of the new infections were recorded in Lagos, 8 in Sokoto, 6 in Taraba. Now, the country has a total death from the virus totaling 40, while 239 have recovered. Welcome to COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. I am Charles Ibe. Today marks the end of the 2 weeks extension of the lockdown on Abuja, Lagos and Ogun states as directed by the federal government in its bid to contain the spread of the coronavirus, which first recorded in Nigeria in February 2020. Well, it is still yet uncertain as to the way forward as the lockdown expires today. Now, will it be extended? Will the lockdown be relaxed with stringent measures? All attentions are now focused on President Muhammadu Buhari, who is expected to address the nation on the way forward. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's take a quick break now, and the program will continue. Join us again. Thanks for staying tuned, and if you're just joining, it is still Television Nigerian Situation Room on the COVID-19. Just to remind you that you can also be a part of this program. Just call the numbers on your screen. You can go to the comment section, add your comments. Tell us, how has it been 1 month completed under lockdown? How has the situation been with you in your environment, in your neighborhood? What did you observe? What suggestions do you have way forward going for Nigeria, especially in terms of economic recovery on the national levels, on the individual levels? We need way forward. We need way forward because a whole lot of things are staring us in the face, and I tell you, it is not looking really rosy. But it can be if we all put out our hands together, if we all think proactively and constructively, we can actually bounce back fast enough post-COVID-19. These are some of the things we'll be discussing on this Situation Room today. And Victor Temba is in the house.
Exactly. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And as usual, Daniel Atai also completes the Situation Room today.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Now, 2 weeks over, 1 month totaling in all of it. So, it's a wrap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it not a wrap?
It is actually a wrap, and right now there is so much uncertainty in the country because nobody knows where or what decision the president will be saying. And unlike before, unlike the last time, where at the end of the first lockdown period,
the first 2 weeks,
there were already information was already given out that the president was going to address the nation on Monday 7 p.m. But so far, so we haven't heard so much. Maybe they are still deliberating. They haven't really yet come to a conclusion. There have also been loud voices from people that wants the lockdown to be eased so that people can go about their daily activities, and then the economy can grow instead of being at a standstill. And then there's also the argument from both the Minister of Health and the DG of NCDC, who think that we haven't really gotten to the stage where we could ease the lockdown, and that we should all see this as a sacrifice. But then the entire decision rests on the president, and we haven't heard from him yet, and we don't know if we're going to hear from him today. But then it's only right that we must hear from him, even if he's not coming out to address the nation in a public address like he did last time. Perhaps maybe through this one of his media aides, he can let his position. Yes.
Well, Daniel Atai, which way Nigeria?
It is not. It's a which way Nigeria. you saw me on Spectacle, and you actually heard the opinions I was reading. Renowned professors from all over our teaching hospitals and institutions, and herbal researchers giving solutions to Africa entirely. And then we seems to be in the quagmire of anything that comes that doesn't come from the first world nations or the World Health Organization is not good for consumption. The FDA, the American FDA, must have to approve whatsoever, as if to say we went to school for nothing.
But they taught you.
No, they didn't teach us. We are now teaching them back. We have gone back teaching them, because if you go to America, you go to Europe, you go to Asia, you all over the world, you see black men there, and we always have, even their hospitals are dominated by our doctors. You understand, mostly Nigerians.
But it's still on record that they have the knowledge. They are the
well, it's an institution takeover that they are ahead of us. They were able to build the institutions that they built across, and then there is the League of Nations politics that, okay, these are the world powers, these are the lesser powers, the General Assembly, and so several charters. That politics is being played right now in finding solution for COVID-19. Of course, you will see that it is a bewilderment that across the world, it is no longer news that from Spain to Italy to China has gotten over, Spain is out of it, Italy is recovering. Should we wait for it to happen in Africa the way it was predicted by Melinda Gates or Bill Gates? Do we wait for the way it was predicted by Tedros Ghebreyesus, that yes, dead bodies will litter on the street of Africa, and African leaders are just waiting for the hands like this, waiting for dead bodies to litter? Some are even... The ways are there.
What do we do?
See Madagascar, for instance. You saw what the president of a whole nation is saying, that they will not wait for World Health. You have solution. For instance, now you are indoor in your house. You are locked down. Would the government tell you to eat before you eat food? Even if the government didn't provide for you, you provided for yourselves. You've been surviving the COVID-19, and helps from one place or the other are coming to you. That is what is expected in the fight against COVID-19. COVID-19 is not a death sentence. Like I told you, not everybody dies of COVID-19. If we survived the 1918 flu, the world survived it, and so many pandemics that have come to the world, we will still survive. As a matter of fact, COVID-19, if not the reluctantness and the laxity that makes the chain reactions to quickly kill people, it's not up to HIV that solution came. I get what I'm saying? So if we have African solution, our own story, Madagascar have taken the lead. We have these solutions here. We have curative measures, we have preventive measures, we have any kind of measure. We must not take lockdown as the solution. Lockdown is not the solution. Lockdown is just a preventive measure. What about if it happens and you are locked down in your room? What do? No vaccine. Are we waiting for World Health to give us vaccine before we provide solution for ourselves? We have alternative medicine, and so we have researchers.
What you are saying, for
way forward is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, okay, from what you are saying, what you are going to advocate, or what you are actually putting forward now, is that no more lockdown. Let people start taking this vaccine. Is it vaccine or palliative? What do you call it? Herbal solutions, and then go about their normal
Incidentally,
business.
There would be lockdown. I am saying that the bureaucracy and the bottleneck that is happening in the World Health,
okay,
and then the FG should not buy that idea.
Okay.
You are an independent nation, for crying out loud, a sovereignty, and as a matter of fact, the onus is on you to aid your people, make sure they survive. Egypt was hit by what we call pandemic, the 10th plague. In Egypt, in the olden days, according to biblical history and even Quranic history, despite the fact that the plague came from God, Pharaoh still had solution to it.
Oh, really?
Pharaoh produced solution. The solution of water, when the water was turned into blood. Didn't you hear that Pharaoh brought his own magicians?
And they were turning the back.
Yes, they got water. Read your Bible very well.
Okay,
Pharaoh provided solutions to his own people, even though his son died.
Yeah, I think I will have to go and read that.
You read. I'm telling you. Even before the plague got to Pharaoh's palace to his own son. He had fought using so many means. And we have modern means. And the means we have today are even scientific.
Yeah, then let's just round up this Pharaoh issue. Pharaoh had the problem of allowing Israel.
I've introduced another one to you.
Because I don't know, because it could be a lead. Maybe there's something we have not done that God is sending coronavirus on all over the whole world.
It's not God per se. I said that one was adjudged to be God, who said he wants to free Israelite from the hands of Egyptian, and he sent 10 plagues when the Pharaoh was adamant.
And now Pharaoh let Israel go, and the plague left, isn't it?
Even before Pharaoh accepted and then went home and said, no, I'm not letting them go. If they go, who will do all this job for me? You understand? And God will send one plague. He always have his own way
of bringing
solution.
All right.
And this plague, COVID-19, is God haven't said it's from him.
Okay.
So even if it is from anywhere,
from China
or from Wuhan or from anywhere, the question now is what solution should a sovereign nation proffer first before the World Health intervene?
Now let's take that cue now. Before whatever the World Health comes, we have done 1 month. We are looking forward to. Do we go forward or do we remain on a lockdown? Kaduna State have announced another 1 month. I mean, with some
1 month straight. No,
it's not even like they're not breaking it, and they're not laughing about it. They said it's only on Wednesdays that they will relax lockdown, and then it's total. And then you must wear face masks and other stringent measures that are being put in place. And
these are good.
Now, and also I saw in Anambra, which was announced yesterday, I think on Saturday or thereabout, they are releasing their own lockdown too. In fact, everywhere should open up, markets, churches, and all of that. But compulsory wear your mask, maintain social distance, use every physical hygiene and all of that. So, which one now should we be looking at? Coming from the central government, like we had lockdown Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun. Now, some people have been saying let it continue. In fact, they should add Kano because of the peculiarities.
Kano should definitely go on lockdown, complete and absolute lockdown. And as a matter of fact, while they are on lockdown, food should be served to each house, one after the other.
We predicted that for
they should not come out. They should not come out because what is happening in Kano, from what we have gathered so far, despite the politics or the statement of Ganduje and Emir, I can tell you that it is COVID-19.
All right, Victor, what do you say about what should Nigeria do now? Are we proceeding on a lockdown? Because a lot of fingers are crossed right now. What next?
Well, like I said earlier, we don't know what decision the president will be taking, but then we can pick at a few pointers. When you talk about Anambra still has just one case.
And in fact, he has recovered.
And exactly, so there is really nothing to really worry about. So it is okay if the governor goes ahead and lifts the lockdown and says everybody go about their business, but they maintain the whole lesson precaution that you need to take. That's understandable. But then Kaduna that still has cases, and this other state, Kaduna has gone on a lockdown. States are asking the president to approve the interstate lockdown and all that. All of this might form part of what all this will go a long way to form part of the decision about going a lockdown or whatever. So Kaduna does not have as much cases as Kano, nor Lagos, nor Ogun State, nor Abuja.
But the governor, they mentioned that because of the porous nature of interstate, and it's so much in the state, it's so much in Kano, it's so much in Abuja, and then these are states bordering.
Be exported.
Exactly.
And then when you also look at within the last 2 days, new cases came in. When these cases were reported, you found that new states that never had issues before, like Imo,
they started having
cases. So which also gives more strength to the argument that the federal government should approve the lockdown of the interstate border. So for me, I think it is not dicey at the moment. It's tilting towards more to the side that they are going to extend it. Yes, so I don't want to categorically repeat myself to say that there's going to be an extension. But
why are you softening up now? Last week you are like it will be extended.
No, I think at this moment people are quite scared. People really want to go. people now do not really mind the virus. And then there's something that they have really put fear in the minds of people for this virus. In this year alone, like he said earlier, HIV has killed about 500,000 people. When you look at malaria, it has also killed about over 300,000 people. Then there are other illnesses that have killed people more than in this year alone. But then when you total the deaths from coronavirus, about 208,000. So it still pales in comparison to these other regular deaths that we know. So it means that it is not as fatal as.
But it's still rising.
As we thought. You understand?
But on
I
a
think it's
daily basis,
correct.
it's still increasing.
Yes, it is increasing. We shall understand that if you are giving 100 apples and then they say 99 are good except one, we know you are going to be worried. But then that shouldn't really call for concern. Like when you say you have 100 apples and about 50 or 40 of them are not good for decent consumption, that it might come to harm. So I think at the point we really understand that it is not a death sentence. So people need to be relaxed.
Did you watch what the American Health Center brought yesterday? The indices about what kills coronavirus and the various temperature they released.
Okay, no, I didn't see that.
I can tell you that the propaganda and the bewilderment that happened in China, Spain, and Italy that has led to world propaganda was or is still beyond what coronavirus actually is. You understand? So coronavirus, the way the World Health wanted us to believe that yes, it could kill, massively the way it started in Wuhan, could actually be cured with simple precautionary measures and drugs that you won't even expect. But since we are afraid of saying the truth, or we are being gagged by the body, the health body, the internationally recognized health body, which is still watching the world dying and have not proffered solution. So everybody should lock down and be waiting for death. That is not a solution. And I will go with the way Trump is going about it. If there is solution, let's accept. You must not approve once the solution cures. World Health is not only the research body, institution for health policies or health enactment. Okay. As a matter of fact, the professors and research institutions we have all over the world are saddled with that responsibility. The only approver is for World Health to come and append its signature and say this is. But politics and bureaucracy could also hamper that. So if we have solution in Nigeria, and there are tribal traditional institutions and personnel researchers who are saying we have solution, what would the federal government be waiting for? Or what would the NCDC be waiting for? These people and these persons, they are all over the media. Okay, what about Madagascar? Were they waiting for Donald Trump or Gabriel Jesus or World Health to approve their drugs before it started curing their people?
So they have, or is on record that it actually cured them?
Yes, now, and they even made it a policy, a law.
And then the good thing about that Madagascar story is this: other countries are also placing orders for the same
drug.
COVID again is countries like Senegal. Yeah. Senegal has also placed order for it.
United States. What about our own Nigeria? We have
RC2 has also and also Cameroon. So 3 African countries has placed order that they should be giving. And
we've not placed order.
Yes,
we have our own solutions here. We have solutions. COVID-19 is not a death sentence.
See, the matter of fact is when you look at
it is when you don't know.
When you look at a country like Senegal, I don't know if these past few days I'm talking about Senegal simply because they have been doing something there that I've always said in the beginning that countries should ask Senegal what exactly is it that they are doing. And because the first time I saw the figures from Senegal, they were at about 200 and something cases, and then with less than recovery rate about 120 with just 2 deaths, and that was very massive to me. So I was like, this is the time that countries should begin to ask Senegal exactly what they are doing. Now, despite the fact that Senegal has a very low, the 3rd lowest death rate in the world,
To COVID-19.
To COVID-19. They have this something that they do less than test kits per $1, so they are able to test a lot of people. They invented their own ventilators and all of that. They've been doing a lot. They've been using chloroquine as well to treat COVID-19. And I think this is what you were saying, because when you're using chloroquine to treat COVID-19, the World Health Organization warned them that this is not tested, it's not proven, it's not yet certified.
They say it's still on clinical trial.
Yes, but then they said it is working for us. We have used it, and in fact, most of their factories that were closed down because of this is producing chloroquine that were not producing again because of lack of profits in the business. They had to come back. The government funded them to reopen and come back. Now, despite so much that they're doing, they became one of the first countries to place order for the COVID organics produced in Madagascar.
Yes, because that COVID organic produced in Madagascar was actually treating malaria, typhoid, and other related diseases. You understand? So while we allow this disease, other diseases are killing people right now, and anyone now will be suspected to be COVID-19. But what I'm just trying to say is very simple. If yesterday the American government were showing us things about the various temperatures, and even temperature, heat could kill COVID-19.
Yeah, it's been
even heat. So we know the amount of heat that to be applied. So these things are not
rocket science.
Rocket science, the way Bill Gates and WHO want us to believe. Let people be free. Let people go to their find their own separate solutions to this and
move on.
Lockdown is not only the solution. The solutions comes from all those things.
Okay, it is top of the hour. Let's go to the news desk to get the news headlines, and we'll join back the COVID-19 situation room for more on the situation of COVID-19 in Nigeria and the rest of the world. Join us again. Thanks for joining us again. It is still the Situation Room of Television Nigeria, and this time we're looking at COVID-19 pandemic, how it is hitting the world hard and how it is actually becoming something else in Nigeria, especially now, northern Nigeria. Let's talk about Kano a bit. Now, the government says it is not COVID-19. The Emir said it's not COVID-19. Now, what actually is happening in Kano State? Should we ask the gods, or who do we ask right now?
Basically, the governor had actually come out to say it's from acute malaria, diabetes, and hypertension. Yes, that's what's causing this death. And then, but then the question now again is, how come it's so rampant at this point that almost everybody's getting it? And then it's like, it doesn't even, once you contract whatever illness it is,
you just die.
You just die. You don't get to stay for long. You don't get to endure suffering for long. So I could actually agree that it is not related to less than COVID-19, because COVID-19 is not that fatal. You don't get to contract it today and then tomorrow you are gone or something. So to me, I think it looked like something from 1918, the less than Spanish flu, because I think that is how it also operated.
Now you are giving us another scare. So we should think it's something bigger than COVID-19.
Yeah, I think that it might just be another sort of virus that has actually mutated
from COVID-19.
Might not be from COVID-19, but might be from the this family of this coronavirus family. I don't know. I can't say I'm not a medical expert in that.
In 24 hours, they said about prominent.
26.
Okay, 26. It rose from 22
prominent.
Prominent.
In one day, not that it is counting. In one day, 26 prominent people. Those are the ones that were known because they were prominent.
Yeah, there are a lot of others. I actually saw a report that said there are now
640.
Exactly, and I don't know.
Now, let me say something. Very soon now, Ganduje and the whole people of Kano, or speculation will have it that what is killing people there is they will add a mythical aspect to it, that maybe because of the removal of Mia Sanusi.
Yeah, the
gods are angry, and that is why people are dying like that. Nigerians could just, figure out anything and just merge it together just to justify their coincidences. But it is not coincidental to say that this is COVID-19. I get what I'm saying? Because, if the governor is all-knowing, is the number one citizen there, and the emir, of course, the emir and the governor, the emir will always play the card of the governor, but we have professors from the Bayero University Teaching Hospital who have said, Professor Raymond, I called him yesterday, I chat with him, the proofs are here, and to link me up with Professor Yusuf Aliu. You understand? And what is happening? And he sent me the article Yusuf Ali, a professor of oncology, wrote, and then he, who is a professor of virology.
Was it particular to the death?
To the death, because I want to know what is actually happening in Kano. And from what they said and the evidence they provided, they are not hidden people. They are professors that are well known. As a matter of fact, Professor Ali is in Abuja now, in the FCT here. And for them to have come out from what they have seen, though NCDC presence was much absent
in Kano.
In Kano, not predominantly present to arrest the situation, because the government is playing politics with what is actually happening in Kano.
Which government now? The Kano State
I'm talking about Ganduje, the governor Ganduje of Kano, and the entire Kano State, emirate. Because if your people are dying of malaria, and you say it's malaria, your people are dying of typhoid, and you say it's typhoid, all these related symptoms are there in COVID-19. And if you don't take proactive measures by curative means now, this is no longer preventive means. The only preventive means now is to shut down Kano. Shut Kano completely. No going, no coming. And in fact, the intrastate movement should also be shut. If not, the prediction that carcasses and dead bodies will be seen on the street of Africa could come to pass.
And it will not be in our own dear Nigeria.
And it will be in our own dear Nigeria. People are not visionary enough to see, and if they know, they pretend not to know because of the bottlenecks or whatever gain they want to gain from IMF or World Bank or whatever.
Okay, so now the professor that the article the
article is here.
Now
we'll publish it on the Nigerian news so that people will see.
Now it's not on record that any of those deaths there has been a post-mortem or something that categorically stated this is what killed them. You remember that initially the governor was like, it's all fake news. Before later they now accepted that okay, deaths are actually happening, and now he said they have already started investigating the cause of the deaths.
Yes.
So now, how did these people come to the conclusion that actually this is COVID-19? Because from what we actually read from the stories, once the people are dead, they will just be buried and all of that.
Yes, the moment, according to the Islamic religion, you die immediately. And we have rumor, and it is not rumor, it is also confirmed that once the cemetery workers, what do you call, where they bury those people, were cautioned, the cemetery, the workers, they were cautioned not to relate it with COVID-19, not to even tell people or press the number of deaths being buried there in a day. What are we hiding? What are we hiding from?
Really don't know, because do they really know what a COVID-19 victim looks like?
So if dead bodies are trooping in and people are just dying and you are burying massively, you have nothing to say about it.
My own issue here, or my own take on this issue is this: we should not be so determined to link it to COVID-19 and then
it could be cholera,
and then forget the other side of it, that it might actually turn out to be something else, yes. Something worse. It happened only within Kano, so it might be that there is something else other than COVID-19. So probably we should also be praying for Kano, because they might be dealing with two issues, which might be the COVID-19 and whatever is yet to be identified.
Well, if you say so, but from what experts have said, they said most of the lab and the recognized lab in Kano State were shut down because some of the health workers were infected. And if people like professors could come out and be telling you that this is actually COVID-19, I think the federal, and one of the solutions he proffered, that the FG, the task force, should come to Kano by themselves. If they want to argue that this is not COVID-19, they should come. NCDC should go to Kano by themselves and then ascertain whether they are lying. The professor said if it is a lie, he will come out and apologize to the public.
Just like what the PDP said that Buhari should go to Kano.
What is Buhari going to Kano to do? Is Buhari an oncologist or virologist or epidemiologist or what? No, what is he going to Kano to do? To identify with the people. We can make statements from here. They have a governor. What now if it is the epidemic, the pandemic that comes out? The people that should go to Kano are the task force and the NCDC. And then other solutions.
Those ones are good to die.
Not good to die. They have been commissioned to fight the pandemic. Not good to die per se. To say that the president must go to Kano is understatement. Our president that you see there, at his age, you are not even pitying him to rest at a place and give directive on. He have ministers,
yes, and
he have special advisors. There is no ministry, department or agency that don't have protocols of delegation. So must Mr. President, is it because we are borrowing leave from what the American people are caricaturing us on the television, that the president must have to go there and do this? No, the president himself needs rest.
Yes.
So at this moment now, you are trying to excuse this president from
the statement. What we are just waiting for the president to say is to issue a statement.
But then we have
he mustn't go there.
We have also known in
the health experts should go there.
We have also known in the past that he has actually issued statements or and directives to the head experts of whatever department, and they were carried out. Exactly. And when you ask him, he said, "I didn't know it wasn't carried out."
Yeah. What the PDP is saying, I didn't say it's not good. It's very good. Now I want to clear you.
In this particular case, we know it's pure politics.
It's politics. This is pandemic, and you are saying the president must come. President do not even have PPE.
But you hear
personal protective equipment. Does the president have his own?
But why doesn't he have it?
But he is not a COVID-19 commission to fight COVID-19. He gives directive to the NCDC. He's not going as a medical doctor.
There are other,
neither is he going as a health worker.
There are other world leaders elsewhere when they wanted to go to places where this pandemic is serious. Or you see them in that PPE.
Exactly.
They choose to go.
They choose to go.
Yes.
Okay, but it is not in the style of a president to go to this sort of.
I and you are in this country, and you know that the president even before now directed that anybody that wants to see him should see his chief of staff. And this is the same president you are dragging from his office, who has just been hit by COVID-19 in Aso Rock, and then you are telling him to start moving. If he gives directive and send delegations of medical experts there, it's okay.
Yeah, but okay, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back quickly because I was just trying to confirm this. So, in the article, you say the professor wrote and said he asked the NCDC to come to.
Yes, of course.
But then we have NCDC in Kano. They even have a lab there, a lab here to do the testing and all of that. So they could basically, it means that they are in the States, and then they could go there and confirm this case.
So
it is not like they are in Abuja and then you need to go to Kano.
Oga, can I tell you something? Whether NCDC in Lagos, apart from Lagos, Abuja, and which other state? I think Lagos and Abuja. The test samples are always sent to Lagos or Abuja.
No,
so
they have
hold on now.
Hold
on. I'm not telling you now that now in Kano State, those labs, all the health workers, they disappear, according to the article of this professor. And he said that the laboratories people, they ran away because they were some of them were infected, and others are scared because they don't have PPE, they don't have the equipment.
So
and
is it the NCDC lab or just the other private government owned lab?
NCDC lab.
But
did you hear one viral audio that was going on that AIT and REPA had to intervene the day after yesterday? Before yesterday.
Well, because according to the NCDC,
the woman that was mourning, shouting that people should help her, that she eventually called AIT and REPA to intervene in Kano State, and of course it was because of that call and that viral audio that her case was attended to before they went to evacuate the family, the remaining family members, because the in-law had died and they had to quarantine the people. So they went everywhere. Even NCDC in Kano was said to have off their phones because they don't have equipment. Ganduje is still waiting for 15 billion to be given to him, and Ganduje said it is not COVID-19. So what are you talking about? Somebody is telling you that it's not COVID-19 and you are expecting him to go and fight COVID-19. Ganduje was in the lab by himself. We saw where he was, using microscopic whatever to check whether. I was wondering whether Ganduje is a medical doctor.
Yeah, you never can tell.
No, he's just being proactive and getting involved. Normally,
this is the time to get involved.
Yeah, normally governors, deputy governors have always had the task force on COVID-19 in several states. Like in Kaduna State, I think it's the deputy governor that heads the...
because the governor went on quarantine.
Yes, now, but he's still the deputy governor because it was even the deputy governor that gave out the statements about the lockdown of Kaduna and some other states. You find out that it's the head of the government that head the task force on COVID-19.
They should lock Kano down.
No, it's all good now.
Should lock Kano.
I don't know, you viewer out there, if you are watching us from Kano or anywhere, please you can also call in or send us what the situation actually is in Kano State so that we could share it in all Nigerians. And of course, if any of the government officials, the state government of Kano State government has actually reached out to the federal government to please come to their aid. I mean, it's not funny right now in Kano State. And please, if it is actually the gods, please the gods should temper justice. Yeah, I mean, it's not good enough. So we are still looking at any moment from now, because we don't really have the time when the president is going to address Nigerians, but we expect the president to give us the way forward. Are we going to continue in the lockdown? Is it going to be relaxed systematically? Is it going to be, take it off completely, everybody go about your business? Of course, not forgetting the Madagascar discovery and all of that.
And also Nigerian discovery, though not approved in Nigeria yet.
Exactly, we are still expecting reactions from the government. But right now, let's go to the street. Let's go to the street. You know that the street is always where it happens. And like we said when we were beginning, the tension or the tension, anticipation of what next, especially for the residents of Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun State. For now, our correspondent went to the streets to find out what people are actually anticipating after today. Let's join Lucky on the street.
Prolonging the issue of lockdown is not good. I don't support it. It's not good at all. The president, the federal government, look for another way out. Let's borrow the idea of China, and there is free movement in China. What did they do?
Let's assume that they lock all the state their boundary. Nobody can take it from Abuja to Kogi State, and nobody will take it from Kogi State to other states.
In one way or the other, I supported the Labour Congress because, one, if you see the masses of this country, people are hungry, dying internally.
Despite the lockdown, there has been an increase in coronavirus cases across the country. Now, Nigerian governors has come to agree for extension of 2 weeks national lockdown. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress said no to that, issued a warning to Mr. President never to extend the lockdown again. Should it be the case, the consequences here are that there will be more crime, hunger across the country. Now, we want to find out from Nigerians if they support the governors for extension or support the Nigerian Labour Congress not to extend the lockdown again. So which side do you support?
Of course there should be lockdown. Why wouldn't there be lockdown?
So which side do you support, the governors or the Labour Congress?
Of course the governors now, there should be lockdown. Even without the lockdown, the case is still increasing. So why won't you lock down more? I think the government should just try more in capturing the poor people in the distribution of the palliative measures and try to see how they will curtail this pandemic. It's a serious issue. I think they should lock down. Without the lockdown, we are still having higher figures. So why wouldn't they lock down? They should lock down. The lockdown should continue.
So how long do you think this lockdown will last?
I can't tell. Probably until we get a positive figure. Probably when the case start reducing. We think that's when you start relaxing, maybe gradually. You relax the lockdown gradually. Probably maybe not completely, but maybe phase by phase you continue.
Should the coronavirus keep on escalating? So do you mean that Nigeria should remain locked down?
Of course, in China, I've heard of somebody that's been locked down from January to now, and they are having positive results. So why won't we lock down? Is it better to come and die?
I supported the governor on the platform they designed for them to give a break of 2 weeks, of which is normal. Just because this disease of this coronavirus pandemic, it is something of which you cannot it's not something you can manage. But in individual, if make it as in the whole of yourself, you can manage it within yourself. But not that in one way or the other, I supported the Labour Congress because, one, if you see the masses of this country, people are hungry, dying internally because of the situation on the ground, and the government are not ready to support the masses. Look at this First Bank and this GTB Bank here. You go there to withdraw money, you can't get money. And there are a POS in front of the bank making money. The civil charges, if they are a country supposed to be, of which is not the best. You have your money to withdraw again is a problem. So what I'm reading is that it's just for the matter of the federal government and the Labour to come to the aid of the masses. That's just it.
Do you think the POS is arranged with is arrangement from the bank or is personal business? I
believe it's arranged with the bank because there's no way a POS will be in front of a bank and there's security. A security will be supporting them that the bank they don't have money. I even take this gap, for example, Heritage Bank. I told them this is the best bank so far. It's when this issue started, we have been withdrawing money from here, but build a big bank within that opposite them say you cannot get money from there, of which is bad. And the security in GTB was even supported. So for you to know that definitely they know what is happening.
You know, Nigeria as a country, we need to improve to some extent that when we have a problem like this, it's not lockdown that will solve the problem.
So first of all, who do you support? Are you supporting the governors or Labour Congress?
I'm supporting the Labour Congress.
Why are you supporting the Labour Congress?
My reason is this: lockdown might not provide adequate solution to this problem. Even though we know what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to look for an adequate solution to this problem. How do I mean? There is a chemical that some developed country normally spray in the air, either at night. Once they spray it in the air, it killed the virus.
Do you think the virus is airborne?
You said?
The virus, is it airborne?
Yes, it's flying in the air. By the time you spray the chemical, it will destroy the virus in the air. And therefore, human being will not, being infected by it. By the time you continue the lockdown, and the spreading of this thing continue, does it provide adequate solution to it? So we should look at another means of solving this problem. So President Buhari continue to be, prolonging the issue of lockdown is not good. I don't support it. It's not good at all.
Why you don't support it?
My reason is this. The whole country, the president, the federal government, look for another way out.
So, like, which way can you suggest for president?
Yes, I'm suggesting that a way out. Okay, let's borrow the idea of China. The sickness originated from there, but they have gotten adequate solution to the problem to the extent that they opened their central university, and there is free movement in China. What did they do? They got they produce a chemical which they spray it. They can spray it on human being. You will not be affected. It will not affect you. But if you have the sickness, it will kill it. And it also prevents the sickness from entering you. So if we can go for something like that, it will be better. Because the common men, they have to go out and look for something that they will eat.
So which side do you support?
Actually, I will support the 2 weeks lockdown, the extension. But the government needs to do something. They need to at least give the citizens palliative.
Why are you supporting this extension?
The extension because everybody can, if you're watching the foreign media, you will know, you believe with me that Corona is real and is really causing more harm to people. Like if you see United States of America, there's a lot of deaths, and in Nigeria here, I don't think we have that medical capability to curtail Corona. So the best thing to do is to fight it now, to stop the spread by making everybody stay at home. But they need to create palliative for the masses because people are suffering.
Don't you think there are some countries that are not on lockdown but they are still operating?
Yeah, I believe so. But they were proactive because before the Corona came, there were some measures they put in place. I believe that is why some countries are not they are not on lockdown.
So can Nigeria achieve that?
And Nigeria can achieve that. Nigeria can achieve that. But the thing is that you believe with me that we don't have our medical facilities is not something to write home about.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's well supported, because of our taking safety of our lives. You understand? So as they extend 2 weeks again, it's good.
So don't you think there will be more hunger if they should extend it?
The whole problem now that we are having in Nigeria, as they extend more longer like this, you see what government is supposed to do. People are finding it very difficult to get food, to go and buy food, most especially like me that I'm talking. Now, my food just remains small.
So if you are feeling food, what will you do?
I will only try to squeeze. You know, say as they stop places now, I used to just go small and take by the leg, enter Nyanya market.
But you know that if they should extend this lockdown now, you cannot move to FCT again. You cannot move to Abuja or Nasarawa. You remember where you are. Do you know that?
At all. What the government is supposed to do, let them follow houses to houses and help the masses. You understand? Like outside countries, let's say America, the way they take care of their people is well properly done. Nigeria is supposed to do something like that. You understand me clear? They are in their houses, they will follow you and give you whatsoever they can give you.
Which side do you support?
If the president want to extend it, that for the benefit of a citizen, it's better. That because if you see that's what is happening in other countries, it's because this thing took the US unaware. And it took Italy they unaware. If you ask Donald Trump now, Donald Trump don't know the particular person that brought COVID-19 to a US. If you ask the president of Italy now, he don't know the particular person that brought COVID-19 to Italy. But if you ask the Nigeria now, we know the person that brought it into this country. Now, since this thing doesn't take a course unaware, whatever he said, we should just follow suit to save our life. Because if you see that what is happening in other countries.
Now, why are you supporting the governors?
I'm not. I'm supporting them there because I don't want to die. I don't want any of my family to die as a result of their COVID-19.
If with lockdown, don't you think they will still be having cases of coronavirus? Don't you see so?
With the lockdown, I don't see, the possibility of they're having it is very slow. There with the lockdown. Because if we lock everywhere down.
Thanks for joining us again. Just gone by Nigerians there expressing their own opinion, giving their own views on what the federal government should do or shouldn't do. Of course, they are taking sides with the Labour that said take off the lockdown, and then the governors are asking for 2 weeks lockdown of interstate boundaries to curtail this interstate spread of the coronavirus. But perhaps maybe some other people are looking at it beyond that. Some are strongly agitating for a complete lockdown so that things should be done the proper way. And some are saying, lift this whole thing up and let everybody go and bask in the sun. Like Donald Trump would say, go and get some sun. Something will always kill a man. But let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's hope that whatever decision government gives will be for the best and only for the best, and will ultimately help in the quick arrest of this COVID-19, and of course trash it actually, because that's where it belongs, to the trash can. Yes. Now let's give you an update on the COVID-19 pandemic on the global scene. Now more than 2.8 million cases were registered in 193 countries and territories, while the disease has claimed at least 200,736 lives since its outbreak in China in December 2019. While at least 772,900 are now considered recovered from the pandemic. Now, the United States has the highest number of deaths, with 53,070 out of 924,865 cases. Now, Italy has the second highest toll as death toll, with 26,384 deaths out of 195,351 cases, followed by Spain, that has 22,902 deaths and 223,955 cases. Now, France has recorded 22,614 deaths out of 161,466 cases, and the UK has 20,319 fatalities out of 148,377 cases. Now, on the continental basis, Europe has a total of 122,171 deaths from 1,360,314 cases, and the United States and Canada has 55,586 deaths and 969,896 cases. Asia has 7,854 deaths from 195,102 cases. Latin America and the Caribbean has 7,434 deaths from 150,162 cases. The Middle East has 6,225 deaths from 150,625 cases. Africa, our own Africa, has 1,361 deaths from 29,2 981 cases, I beg your pardon. While from the Oceania, you have 105 deaths from 7,991 cases. Now that's how it is spanned out across the globe on a continental basis, and it appears Oceania, actually, yeah, it's actually Oceania. They are the only country that at least has maintained 4 digits when it comes to the total cases and 3 digits in recording deaths.
That's like a whole different continent.
A whole continent. That means they are actually keeping it real, or is it that the disease is not really?
Yes, or basically now, can we now look at it and say maybe their weather is working out for them?
Oceania should be.
Do they have a strong weather? I mean, do they have weather as hot as Africa or this Middle East?
No, not at all. They are actually in one of those very cold.
Yes, so it is reason why the right time I was like
the temperature thing
might not really had come into play, might not really be in play, but then we cannot really totally discount it that it doesn't play a factor in it. But then these are people proving it wrong that it is not about the weather entirely.
Yeah, but Africa actually is next to Oceania. Africa has the least number of cases.
Yes,
and when you talk about deaths,
and then when you actually look at Africa, Africa was one of the last continent that this virus came into, and I think somehow, some way, because we are not that kind of country that people are really open. In fact, the spread so far has been within us. Okay. And like from us to the fellow citizens, unlike where, in fact, once one person brought it in, then the next people that were transferring from one person to another were citizens of the country or the continent, unlike in other countries where you find nationals of other countries have several cases coming in to infect other people and all of that. And then we also have to look at the fact that in Africa we have really done quite a lot. Some few countries have really done quite a lot.
Yeah, and also like the case of the Madagascar. Now, perhaps Africans have really been taking care of this in the African way, which is why we don't even have the spread the way it is. You remember that Europe and America, they so much believe in the conventional medicine, scientists and all of that. But Africa will still love our herbs. People still chew their local guru. What's that smaller one again? Vitacola.
Garlic.
People take garlic.
Ginger.
Drink bitter leaf juice. Take carrots, and basically we have been keeping it real.
And basically, this is what should have made the government take a very good cue from whatever that we do. That we are a different people. We are unique. We have our own different ways of doing things. So sometimes it's always good that we look inward for the solution and not look. I was actually reading an article from Chukuma Soludo, the former governor of CBN.
Yes.
His own position, his own take on the whole issue, and then he called what we are actually adopting now a copy and paste solution. So we cannot really think for ourselves. And then when you look at countries that have really been thinking for themselves, they have very low less and fatality rates. When you look at this country, Madagascar, for example, they had just 124 cases, another 120 no deaths so far. 171 have actually recovered. That is about 54% recovery rate. And then they actually have something else called the harbour they brought out.
Yeah, that they're actually going to start exporting now.
Yes, and then one good thing about that Madagascar is that when they actually launched that medicine, and the president was there live taking it. He was taking it, and then he told the people that you go ahead and take it. And then when they were taking reactions from citizens, something really struck me there is something that we cannot really get in Nigeria per se. Some people were like, we are taking it. No, you say, okay, we are going to take it because our president said
we should,
and that is going to cure it.
Took it himself.
Yes, and then what really caught my fancy there was the fact that they said the president said, so it means that they have faith in the president. They believe in the president, his capacity. Yeah. This is something that you can't really find in Nigeria per se. How many Nigerians really still have trust in their government?
And the president took it openly.
Openly, and it was there.
Openly.
The last time we saw any president do something that has to do that consummating that was locally made in the public open was when they did cassava bread, and then it was given to the former president. He ate it on live TV, and then that was the end of cassava bread anyway. We never heard of any cassava bread. And then when you also go to and also you go to like Senegal, where we have actually discussed about Senegal. So this South Africa too have been doing a lot of things. Egypt have been doing. There's a country called Reunion. That's another country that has about 417 cases, 300 recoveries, 0 death. Yeah, and then you go to less than Djibouti, for example, about 1,100 something cases. Their arrests and recoveries are about 300 something as well. So these are countries that their recovery rates are way higher than what we have in Nigeria, and these are countries that by the time you compare us, you say we are giants of Africa to them. And then when you look at for these people now, South Africa, for example, in their recovery rate, when you compare the ratio to death rate, you find out that it is 17 to 1. So it means that 17 people must have recovered before one person dies. In Nigeria, what we have is 6 to 1. 6 people must have recovered before one person dies. And then when you go to like Senegal, for example, 27 people must have recovered before one person will die. So it's just a lot of that case. And then when you see countries like Madagascar, Reunion, for example, it means their total recovery. They are not even waiting for any date of any kind.
So now, Daniel, you've always been advocating for local solutions to local problems. I forget you actually were in the front burner for esoteric or something.
Submarine herbal. Of course, don't forget that he was one of the herbal researchers that wrote initially to the Ministry of Health, telling them that he has solution, and even to the World Health. So we can't underplay his research work. After all, he testified here that World Health Organization had used his research work on HIV, where 10 blown HIV patients were, tested negative after using his submarine. So we possibly have solution in Africa, apart from him.
Yeah, but actually what he propounded then was more of something that boosts your immune system.
Yeah, once your immune
and prevents it from coming in. But what about cure for those people that already have
matter.
I think that's what is it what Madagascar is giving out?
Cure. This one too is a cure now. Okay. There are cures inside, just that the World Health wouldn't want us, and the politics behind it wouldn't want us to say cure, and because it is not scientifically been proven by them. You understand? But this is a scientific research too, if you ask me.
Exactly.
Because it's a trado-medical science. We have African science, then we have Western sciences. So the two interwoven together could give solution to the world. Let no man or institution just play the monopoly and hoodwink people into believing that the solution must come from them. I don't believe that. I have solution to my own problems. When I'm sick, there are things that make the sickness in me to just disappear without necessarily having to go to hospital the way it is done in Western nations. This is Africa.
But they always they say self-medication is actually not good.
It might not be self-medication. What you eat, the vitamins and multivitamins you could get from herbs and fruits that we have in Africa, natural fruit, not the baked one, not the canned ones that they are selling abroad, whatever. So I believe in those things more, and that's why I'm still looking younger at 44. You understand?
You keep saying it. You keep saying it that the WHO and Bill Gates are trying to make people to think that the solution can only come from them. But
I didn't say it. I came to believe in what they are saying.
Okay, you came to believe what they're saying. But
I gave you Trump. That one of the person. I gave you Robert J. F. Kennedy as second. I also gave you.
I'm not concerned whether they actually
professors who are saying no.
I'm not
that
concerned.
They cannot wait for these people. They cannot wait for what.
I'm not concerned whether they are saying that we should wait for them or not. It is that then you are shifting the blame. You are giving excuse. You are giving a leeway for our own leaders, for our own fault. I'm laying the blame on the less than WHO and Bill Gates. The other countries, these other countries that have gone inward and found inward solution, they didn't have to wait for the WHO. Exactly. The WHO has been telling them what to do, but then they say we can do it our own way. I told you Senegal, they were using chloroquine, and WHO said stop using it. It is not certified, and they say it has been working for us, so we continue.
Because of the
and they funded. Factories that are already closed down, they were actually producing, and say come out and continue producing this thing. Let's say Madagascar, as much as they said they were warning people not to take the herb, the president has still much packaged it, encourage the citizens that go ahead and take this. Other countries are now asking for it, that export, bring it to Cameroon, bring it to
and so
bring it
our
to
own
DRC.
Nigeria.
Let us see. And here in Nigeria,
we have those things.
Maurice Iwu, for example, now somebody like Maurice Iwu is not somebody, at least in this kind of field, shouldn't be taken lightly. Yes.
What about the submarine that came here to prove it to us?
Now, when we had the issue of Ebola, remember that there was an article that he wrote, and he was working on it when he was still a professor or whatever, and then they were doing research on. But it wasn't yet concluded. That was where the issue of bitter cola came out. So it means that he has been working on something like this. So if he said there is a cure for this, regardless of whether it's in politics or whatever, I think it would be right that they will listen to him. You were talking about a submarine here. Saying, they used Harvard. These are people that are not faceless. These are people that have face. You can see.
And you know there's
nothing wrong.
Hold on, Victor.
Them.
Yeah, Victor,
and if
hold
at
on.
the end it doesn't work, there's nothing wrong. It is trial and error.
It is not even trial and error. If World Health Organization, like the case of a submarine, and he boasted here that World Health Organization came to take his sample when the issue of HIV was full-blown all over, and the centers were two only, one in Makurdi, and they took it to Federal Medical Center. The statement was live on TV, and then they said during the Abalaka era, they call it the Abalaka era. And then
that was the HIV.
The HIV issue, and they tested his sample, his solution on the patient who are already full-blown AIDS, not HIV anymore. The HIV state is human immune virus, while the full-blown is acquired immune deficiency syndrome, which means all your body organs and gene cells are already dead. You are waiting for death. You understand? And he said 10 full-blown AIDS were cured, became negative. And one science has proven that this is negative situation. It means that you have 0% of that virus in your system. So if we have solution, what on earth are we waiting for? And that is why I want to the Oceania continent and Madagascar, which is an island too in Africa, and all those people who are already not waiting for World Health. I want them to go ahead. While on lockdown, as we are saying lockdown, like I said, lockdown is not the only solution. We lock down, but the number keep increasing. We know that without lockdown, it could have increased more than this. But what do we do to stop the spread? What do we do to cure those who are already with it?
Yes,
that is the solution. Are we now waiting? If Big Gate or World now say in the next 18 months, we'll be waiting for them. Oxford has gone ahead. They brought a solution. They brought a vaccine. They say they are testing it on their people. They used volunteers. They say about 800 volunteers came. They tested it on 2 persons, and they found out that apart from little headache and kind of drowsiness, it has no other adverse or side effect. And what are we as a country doing? Let's say the whole of Africa being a dependent nation, economic dependent nation on a foreign aid, on IMF, World Bank, and so on. So he who pays the piper, a kind of dictates the tune. And not only he who pays the piper dictates the tune, also a debtor seems to be a slave toward the creditor. That is the situation and the quagmire we found ourselves. If not, who can say that a country like Nigeria does not have solution for COVID-19?
Even like the chairman, is the chairman or president of ASU, he did say that the Nigerian universities can
what is going? Yes, who can fathom the propaganda?
They are riddled with strikes. They have issues that they can't perform.
And do you know that there are some people? Sorry, do you know that there are some people, those world-class powers who are playing this politics, they want that lockdown to continue. They fear to continue. Oh, COVID-19 lockdown until we give you solution. That is where we are headed.
To them too.
But yes, but then the thing is,
and it's not getting to them. Those people who actually want us to continue to lock down, and we should not even use any alternative medicine. We should not. We should wait for them to give us vaccine and let people be dying. And then every day, like you are counting, you keep counting numbers of death. I don't want to be giving bad news. I should have elements of good news for people to listen to.
The reason why I have always been saying that there's going to be a lockdown, that I'm so sure there's going to be an extension of the lockdown. It is me preempting the government, because I know that from all indication we do not have a government that is kind of innovative
capable of stampeding this situation.
They are not kind of innovative in leadership, in providing solutions and all of that. Yeah. So
then they should buy into the solutions people have offered them and proffered them.
Right from the beginning, when you saw the whole thing coming to Nigeria and all of that, from the way they have been reacting, you will see that it is what Charles Oludu call copy and paste method. Immediately they declared lockdown. The following day they already gone to Kwali and they started sharing out 20,000 as palliative to people. And like, we don't even know how long this is going to last, and you're already giving people money at the beginning. How are you going to sustain it?
Exactly.
It is not possible. It's simply because they sat and they felt that other countries are doing it, so Nigerians are going to expect us to do it. But these other countries are countries that can afford it.
And within 24 hours, they say 250 million has been disbursed.
Of 2.2 trillion naira. 2.2 trillion naira, we have to budget for like 100 years before we can get to maybe 50 years. Let me not say 100, 50 years, because our budget every year is about 20 billion or 20 something billion dollars. And then for just this palliative, for just this lockdown, US had about 2.2 trillion. They can afford it. So they were already doing what they know they can do, but we were doing what they think these other people can do, and then we went ahead. Now that they are saying that the lockdown we actually go ahead for a long time. Now they are lost. They don't know what to do. That is why palliatives are not yet even being given out, because they don't know how, if they can even afford it. In fact, presently Nigeria cannot even afford to give any less than palliative. It's the reason why they've been dragging their foot.
See,
today they will say maybe they will use BVN to identify poor people. Tomorrow they will like, those that have less than 5,000. Next time it's like,
they'll say those who load 100 naira.
They don't know how to go about it. We cannot even afford to give everybody money, which is the reason why, if we had any other solution, if I've been looking inward, maybe I would have agreed with you that yes, let them lift the lockdown so that we can go about our business. It should be technically there is no innovative way of going about this from our own side. So therefore, lockdown, I think for now, it's for the benefit of we the citizens and the country, because we don't have that sort of a responsible government that will say
no, don't say a responsible government. A government that has caught itself in a web. You understand? Or the web has caught the government, like the pandemic came. Yes, it's an overwhelmed situation that created a bewilderment and say,
there was nothing to be overwhelmed about in the first place.
You understand? So
there was nothing to be overwhelmed. In fact,
the situation of
when we had less than 100 cases, that was when Nigerians were saying lockdown. If at that moment,
I said the situation of our head. Facility. Is it not an overwhelming?
So how is it overwhelming? Okay, is it supposed to be overwhelming in the first place?
No, it's not supposed to. That's why I said we have been caught in a web. You see, when you have not prepared
ourselves,
by ourselves, you understand? So
it still remains.
Now that the government is looking for, you know for sure that they depend on us now. To proffer solutions, to gather information.
Are you sure they are listening?
They are listening. What we have been saying here, they have been doing.
No,
they are listening.
The thing is this, I have come to realize that government does not lack of ideas
or policies
or anything.
It's the implementation.
They are not looking forward to us
to
give them to provide solutions.
Solutions are
they
there
know
already.
What the solution. They know. The National Mission of Science and Technology know that in a normal settings, they are supposed to be sponsoring research institute, schools to go and research to do some stuff.
Can I tell you?
They know, but they don't do it. When you, as a young innovator and creator, by the time you take your innovations to the National Ministry of Science and Technology, you won't even say anybody. Perhaps maybe the person you'll be seeing will be the secretary or one officer there. You will not be able to. Nobody will attend to you.
Because
now, Victor, please hold on. Let me correct one impression here.
Okay.
That government that they know what to do, and they are not doing it. It is partially true. It's a half truth.
No, it's largely true.
Hold on. We know that the government have every mechanism to doing what is proper. But do you know why it is partially true now? Because the government shot itself on the foot by appointing sycophants and relatives. If you go all over Africa, you discover that most people that we tend to must work with us are not people who actually could do the job. They are political appointment and political, reference and referees. So the media has a fourth estate of the realm. After the executive, the legislative, the judiciary, you have the media. And now the media interface between the government and the people at all levels. So they listen. Because if they don't listen, the sycophants around them may not be able to tell them the cogent truth. And they know these things.
But they depend on them to tell them.
They don't depend on them always. Though they depend on them somehow, but they don't depend on them for certain proactive measures and actions like this. Are you telling me now that...
I'm not cutting you short. For instance, when the president, even the president himself said, anything that has to get to him has to get passed through
his chief of staff.
So that means whatever the chief of staff wants him to see is what he will see. The one he doesn't like or stop, he trashes it.
Exactly.
That is what it is. So,
but the president himself could sit in his room and watch me and you, and even sit in his room and papers go to his front and he reads. That is to say that you are talking to Mr. President there. They have his chief of staff may not be there at that time. The chief of staff must have stopped certain things behind or from the front line, but
and don't forget,
the media will tell you as it is.
You
understand?
Let me just, it's not as if I'm coming. You are actually right. But let's also bring out the helplessness of the government in this. How do people get to offices in Nigeria? We all know how it happens. If you don't have the money, people gather money and give you and put you there. Now, let's take, for instance, why haven't we solved the problem of power? Who are those people that import Jimega, whatever, Mikano, and who are the importers of Mikano of this world? Who are the importers of
the issue of Nigerian electrical problem that even led to Mr. Kyari's trip to Germany? I could tell you that it almost became a thing of evil contract. And Jonathan too was overwhelmed. He wanted to break the contract at one time, and that is the ex-president, and they said, these are the terms of the contract. Now, for people to sign contract that when you are not performing as a contractor, you are not paying, you are not, doing your own side, keeping to your own side of the contract, and the government wants to revoke it, revoking it, I have to pay you a certain amount of damages. Can you imagine?
Because it was included in this
contract. Yes, in the MOU and the amendment and whatever. So, and it is not supposed to be so. But who did that? Was it Jonathan? Of course, no.
Well,
was it Buhari? No. And then they said, after a period of 4 years, you renew it. After a period of another 4 years, it's subject to not renewal or not. And then the president said, okay, he waited till 2019 came, where they deal with disco and whatever, elapsed, and he said, I'm not going to renew it. And then they brought another policy. How do I put it? A bottleneck that, look, this contract states that so you give us 8 million pounds if you are severance if you are quitting. But you are not distributing power. Okay. You are not even commiserating the power supply with what they pay you.
Have you found out who are the powers behind those discos?
Can I ask you one question, Mr. Charles? Can I ask you one question? Yeah. Have you found out the people that amended our constitution in 1999 and gave it so many loopholes for corruption to the extent that the governor will sit and will have what we call what do you call it?
I will tell you that those people that amended...
Not security vote. You cannot arrest immunity clause, and then a governor will say, I will steal from the local government first, and you say don't steal, and then they will quote constitution for you that the constitution empowers them to steal from the local government. Haven't you seen that it is a constitutional problem?
Mr. Dan,
and who designed that constitution?
Mr. Dan, when you look at it carefully, the governors do not totally, or presidents do not totally have that kind of immunity clause that we talk about.
I know.
So because of impeachment.
Yes.
So it means that if there are gross that's a misconduct on the part of the governor or president, now he can be arrested, but then he can be impeached. And once he's impeached,
apart from he can even be arrested on capital crime. But then the injunction or the lacunae that you may be distracting a sitting governor from carrying out his duty, therefore you cannot take him to court.
Sorry, but have you forgotten?
Who provided those things? Who enacted those things in the Constitution?
Let me tell you, in case you have forgotten who provided. I would have loved to ask you a personal question, but let me just leave it. But don't forget how we elect our lawmakers as well. It's the same way we elect governors. It's the same clique, it's the same cabals that control states that decide who, even to the part of who becomes a councillor.
Exactly.
So when they go and sit down, do you think they will make laws against their principles? It's not possible now.
No,
they have to look for ways to make it.
Actually, people make on several occasions they make law against their principles, but it fails. Either a rancor comes in and then either impeach the speaker or what do you call it, the Senate president or the leader of the house, or you understand, at that level, and then to pave way. We've done it, even at our local level. We've done it. That is democratic coup. When your leader is not performing, you remove him, especially when he's in tune with the executive and then being controlled. You just have to remove him and then pave way for governance.
The removals that has happened or impeachment, we also know the politics behind in front or behind or beside them. We're actually also talking about the Sanusi. We also know the politics of the
and today the Emir have accepted with the governor Ganduje that there is no COVID-19 in Kano. So it is malaria and typhoid that is killing people in Kano.
Let's quickly round this thing up by kind of try to profile a solution, especially when you talk about economy. Now we are looking at should it be extended or not. We have done 1 whole month of a lockdown, and believe it or not, it has already impacted in the economy of Nigeria on the national scale, on individual scales. Go and look at banks. You have less people now queuing up at the ATMs because most of the monies are exhausted. I mean, some banks too, they're even having problems. They have to go and get from CBN because almost what they have in their vaults are empty. So how do you recoup? How do we revamp the economy? Now, it's not time enough for we to start giving proactive advice to government, especially. You mentioned Madagascar. I'm very, very curious, and I think I love that idea. Now, Madagascar, out of this whole thing, is going to become an exporting nation. What are they exporting?
COVID organics.
COVID organics. Now, what are we going to export after COVID-19 that is born out of this situation?
We can export a submarine.
Okay.
Of course.
Aside from a submarine, now before now, we've always been dependent on China, the Germanys, the whoever, the UKs for every other thing. Now, isn't it time for us to have homegrown everything, homegrown technologies, homegrown ways of doing our roads?
It is time.
So shut these people out. Right now, they are shut out. The planes are not flying.
Except the Chinese who are here.
No, they will soon go.
Who were here? No, I mean those who were originally here.
Exactly. Even then,
constructing our roads.
Even as they are here, we can still find a way of using our own indigenous technologies. You mentioned about is it Senegal that had to go and wake up a dead factory that was doing
revamp all the factories, moribund industries all over.
In Nigeria.
We are wake them.
Go and wake them up. Who studied engineering? Come back and
thank you.
Start producing exactly
all the computer whatever on the road. Bring them to the IT world. Ministry of Science and Technology. It's not only pencil you should manufacture.
Exactly.
Take people, create job, bring all the experts on the street to the ministry, empower them, sit down, do what you can do. All the engineers.
The last time I went to Ebony State, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, we took a tour. You need to see more as in dead, forgotten industry. I was like, what?
In your brain, you have about 5 or so.
You see, you need to see farms, mechanized farms. I mean, the machines are all dead. The poultry farms the cages are dilapidated.
They were all queuing for oil money. They went for oil money. Every month, the federal government would disburse oil revenue. According to state, they are waiting. Nobody is doing anything apart from media, IGR from the market, local market, and people in the state level. That is what the governors are using, and they are eating.
It can't really be from the states.
So let's look
at the fact that most of these kind of companies or factories that close down in Nigeria, they move to other countries, not that they run out of business entirely. So we can look at Dunlop. Dunlop no longer produces in Nigeria, they are in Ghana. And then their factory in Lagos.
Volkswagen too?
Yeah, there is a factory in Lagos on that Abakran Avenue. At a point, it was used as a church, and now I think it has been sold off and then built with a bank. You can go to Oregon, also in Ikeja. That is like a hub of factories and.
Unilever is still here.
Unilever is still at Oregon. Yeah, that one is still there. Then others have been turned into clubs. Others are hotels. Then mostly churches. You can find you can find a church called St. Grace Assembly. It's actually occupying a factory around Oregon. You go to Ilupeju, it's almost like the same case you have. So at what point did it have to close down their shops and then move on to
at the point where IMF deceived Nigerian government that always they have to be borrowing, and the World Bank will always offer you money to borrow, and then that you should do nothing on your own. If somebody is feeding you and maybe sometimes forgiving you your debt, do you have to do anything again?
Within 2015 and 2000, between 2015
and they keep sharing the money.
Over 2,000 factories closed down in Nigeria, and majority of them moved to Ghana and other country. Was it IMF telling Nigeria to borrow money, or was it the kind of policies we were running at that point?
See, so that's what I'm saying.
You say something here.
Let me
technology, train people, employ people. Do you think they don't know this? Do you think if you go to the office, they don't have this policy document to show you that this is what we're supposed to do?
Can I tell you something? I said they know. Let me tell you. If I write a proposal to the bank that I can get maybe 100 million to just carry out an agricultural scale enterprises, and I have hope of getting that money quickly, I will write that proposal to the bank and ensure I get it. But where I know I cannot get that money and I need 10 million to do what I was going to collect 100 million from the bank to do, I will work for that 10 million. The little I have, I will begin that thing. That is the case with Nigeria and most African nations. You see, the World Bank and the IMF, International Monetary Fund, because we are member nation of the United Nations Organization, any little thing, we don't look at what we could do anymore. We run to them, apply for loan, or we seek their help.
So what is
and they always give. The problem is
is it not advisors, government economic advisors that advises government to go for loans, or how do they just wake up and decide to go for loans?
They just go for they look at
the indices too, don't they? Why do we have advisors if they are not giving government the right advice?
Honestly, it's a pathetic situation.
So we are now channeling our stuff now to advisors. I think we have economic team, or what do we still have?
Presidential economic team.
Yeah, economic advisory council. So please listen to us right now. Stop loans. I mean, whatever we have already in our coffers, all these trillions and billions we're talking about, can we look inwards? Can we begin to revamp? Can we begin to look? You are an engineer.
Yes,
you should be producing some.
I can produce computers. I can program. I can even program you and Victor as you are sitting down here. You understand? But where is the technical? Where is the empowerment to doing those things? I get what I'm saying. Now, if the moribund ones, like for instance, let's take example of Taraku Mills. They say Taraku Mills cannot be revamped anymore. It becomes obsolete. It has become obsolete. If it has become obsolete and you are still owing the staff as far back as 28 or 29 years ago, you cannot revamp it, and you are still owing the staff, and you wanted to sell it. Why not sell it? Sell it, they proceed. You can start another business with it, with modern technology. The moribund industries, Nigerians, enterprises all over that we have, that the FG have. I think the other young man that came here, Comrade Okafor, said he was naming so many of them. Said, sell them, and then so that they will not just be obsolete, be there. Sell them, get the proceed, and reinvent a new
or reloot. Let's talk about. Let's be real.
To reinvest in new innovation.
You know that they are not going to do that. If you say,
but that is what they should do.
Sell it to who? The person that
there are private enterprises that will buy.
We have witnessed
privatization
in this country.
Well, that is the issue. So that is why I say the solution to Nigerian problem is as simple as ABCD. Place death penalty on corruption, and it will be over.
It will work.
Simple. It will work. I don't have because actually I'm tired of talking. You see, even when this president came, our hope was like, oh, that was all. I get me. But the president found himself in another situation where they now have to punish him with health, and he's not himself anymore.
Was he punished?
He has recovered. People try to kill him.
Well, I don't know.
Was it an assertion? In the country. You see, I'm not the type that dodge around what is fact. It's factual that Mr. President was seriously, heated, and he was taken abroad to recuperate for months. And he came back, and since he came back, that was why he said he's not seeing anybody. If you want to see him, because you don't know who is who coming to see you, he should be scared of his life now.
Okay.
Corruption fighting you back, won't you be scared of your life?
Well, then we are wrapping up right now, and we've been talking about coronavirus. It's real, it's ravaging, it's rampaging, it's doing all its possible best. And the onus now is for all of us to do our own possible best to ensure that we kick back at coronavirus and kick it out of Nigeria, kick it out of our systems. And while we are doing that, of course, we have to contend with economy. It's now a reality. A lot of people talk about coronavirus, some people say hunger virus and all of that, and it has to be checked. How do we do all of that? Let's begin to think. Let's begin to think, and let's begin to think. Especially young people in Nigeria, put on your thinking cap, begin to think, begin to innovate, begin to proffer solutions. The ones you can do within yourself, begin to start. This is the time for you to be active. This is the time also for government that is listening to us right now to do the needful, so that together, after the COVID-19, there is still going to be life. Life continues after coronavirus. Well, in a matter of hours or minutes, we never can tell. We will have way forward coming from the presidency, whether the lockdown continues or whether it's lifted, all for the best. It's all about health. Do what you can to stay safe. Maintain social distancing, maintain personal hygiene, do everything possible to stay alive this time. And we will always talk about issues in Nigeria, be it on the Situation Room, be it wherever. But always remember to log on to Television Nigerian, go to all our social media platforms, check us out, look at our interesting lineup of programs, go to our website and also catch up on our live streaming, and also be a part of it. What you say, what you see, what you tell us matters a lot. Thank you very much for doing this today with us. It has been Daniel Atai and then Victor Temba on the Situation Room. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on board.
Thank you.
From me, Charles Sibe, have a wonderful day and stay safe. Bye.